and welcome to your Hamilton Sports Talk. I'm your host, Connor Orr.
And I'm your host, Bianca Bzina. This week in Major Sports, we'll take a look at how the Bulldogs did this past weekend.
And we'll find out who the Ticats are playing in the CFL semifinal action.
In university action, McMaster took on the Guelph Griffins to win the Yates Cup.
And McMaster men's basketball team wins a doubleheader versus Lakehead.
Mohawk men's and women's volleyball battled on the court against the Humber Hawks.
And we have your regular Athletes of the Week segment, where we'll take a look at two top male and female athletes from around your community.
And much more coming up on Hamilton Sports Talk after the break.
This week in major sports around Hamilton, the Hamilton Bulldogs were back in action on home ice Sunday night, where they faced the Rochester Americans. This was the Dogs' first home game since traveling to St. John's, where the Bulldogs and Ice Caps split the doubleheader action to 1 game apiece. Hamilton came out strong with 4 goals in the first period action, scored by Boric, De La Rose, Patron, and Dumont. In the second, Rochester came back to tie it up, leaving the third period scoreless, sending the game into overtime, where it took the Dogs a 3-4 win with a goal by Hensick. Mike Condon got the start for Hamilton after producing the win in St. John's, making 39 saves in the game. The Dogs' next home game is this Friday, November 21st, where they will take on the Toronto Marlies.
Ticats had this week off as they prepare for a repeat of the last regular season game. With the Montreal win over BC this past weekend, the Tiger Cats look to take on the Alouettes in CFL semi-final action. To reflect back on last regular season game, the Ticats played strong, demolishing Montreal in a 29-15 blowout. With a trip to the consecutive Grey Cup on the line and another sellout crowd, it looks to be an exciting weekend here in Hamilton.
This past weekend, the Ontario University Athletics Football Championship happened here in Hamilton at the Ron Joy Stadium in front of 4,554 excited fans, where it saw the McMaster Marauders take on the Guelph Griffins in the Yates Cup action. Saturday, McMaster captured their third Yates Cup banner in 4 seasons with a 20-15 win, driving the Marauders' banner count to 2-7. McMaster snagged 5 interceptions and held the Griffins' offense to just 264 yards. McMaster coach Steve Patazik thought his defense played their best football that day, calling McMaster's defense the best in the conference. The McMasters last won the title back-to-back in 2011 and 2012, which both years they advanced to the Vanier Cup, where in 2011 they captured the title. The third-ranked Marauders will host the Atlantic champion 6th-ranked Mount Allison Mounties next Saturday in the national semifinal Mitchell Bowl.
Let's take a look at how McMaster did on the court, where they took on Lakehead in a doubleheader, where they swept the Thunderwolves in a back-to-back action this weekend. The Thunderwolves came out determined to avenge the previous night's defeat. In the first quarter, Lakehead took an 18-16 lead over McMaster. In the second, the Marauders regained the lead behind some nice shooting from Joe Rocca, who drained consecutive threes, where at half Hamilton was up 35-29. The third quarter saw McMaster start strong before Lakehead stole back the momentum, where the Thunderwolves were able to tie the game at 57 apiece heading to the final quarter. The Marauders came out with a gritty fourth quarter to beat visiting Lakehead 81-73. After the weekend sweep, McMaster and Lakehead are tied in the OUA Central Division with 2-2 records. McMaster will be on the road on November 19th to face division rival the Brock Badgers. We had a chance to go out on site and see how the Western volleyball team and see how they have been doing this season. Let's take a look.
The Westdale Warriors senior girls volleyball team are already starting to prepare for the upcoming 2014-2015 HWIAC season and are expected to be a major threat in the West Division.
Our expectations for this year is that we're going to remedy what we did last year, and again we'll be at the city finals, and this time we'll be victorious.
The Westdale Warriors came so close to capturing the title last year, falling short to George P. Vanier Voyageurs 3-1 in the senior girls final. But the Warriors have kept their heads held high and are not ready to settle for just a city championship.
You have to live up to those expectations. I mean, making it to the finals last year, you can't expect anything but more than that. And we're really determined this year to go to OFSA and win OFSA and do a lot better than we did last year.
The team shows their dedication by having practice at 7 a.m. and working on some of their weaknesses from last year.
I think just practice harder and work on different types of hitting and faster sets and work on digging a bit more. I mean, our passes weren't that great last year, so I think if we work on passing, that will be good for finals.
The Westdale Warriors senior girls volleyball season starts off December 2nd at Sir Alan McNabb Secondary against the Lions. This is Liam Dunlop for Mohawk Sports Talk.
In Ontario,
it's the law.
If you're under the age of 22 and you're driving,
You can't have any alcohol to drink.
zero.
That's zero.
nada, none,
Nothing.
zilch,
Not a drop.
That means
No beer, no wine,
no shots, no coolers,
not even a sip.
no alcohol.
end of story.
If you're under the age of 22 and you're driving, forget the booze.
Zero tolerance for alcohol and drivers under the age of 22. Let's keep our roads safe.
It was a battle of the undefeated at the David Brayley Athletic Center this past Saturday. Mohawk Mountaineers also took on the undefeated Humber Hawks, where it saw the Hawks score a big-time comeback to defeat the Mountaineers in Ontario College's Athletic Association's men's volleyball. The Mountaineers appear to have been headed to a 3-game sweep of the Hawks, but Humber fashioned a late rally in the third set and went on to victory. Humber's Terrell Bramwell was a terror on the floor with 26 of his team's 50 kills and added a pair of stuff blocks. Patrick Richardson had 36 assists for the Hawks, as well as 5 stuff blocks and a serving ace. Now for the Mountaineers, Charlie Hancock connected 15 kills, 1 ace and 1 block. Adam Scheidel had 10 kills and 1 block, and Mark Kavakis came up with 43 assists. With Humber now 5-0, they look to take on over Mohawk's #1 seat in the OCAA standings, as Mohawk now sits at 5-1. Now let's see how the men's volleyball team, we will see what their strategies are to get through this first defeat and their long-term goal within the rest of the season.
The men's Mohawk volleyball team have been on a tear as of late. Currently, they are 5-1 in the regular season and ranked second in the West Division of the OCAA standings, just trailing Humber, who just this past Saturday they faced off against and lost to in a toughly contested game. We got a chance to talk to head coach Matthew Schnarr to ask him what he thought went wrong in Saturday's game and how him and the team plan to bounce back.
I think the unfamiliarity of having some new guys in our lineup this year. We had 5 returning starters, and we added 2 guys that came from different areas. So I think that was a little bit of the reason why we weren't able to execute the finish. It's given us an extra motivation. We don't see Humber for a while now. Now we're always going to be looking up, and I think that will make them want to work harder.
Despite the loss, the team is off to a strong start and could possibly make a deep run all the way to OCAA gold this season. So we asked the head coach if he thinks this team has what it takes to do just that.
I think it's realistic. I just hope that the guys understand that it needs to be worked for, and sometimes you can talk all you want, but you got to walk the walk, and it's a little cliche to say that, but I think our skill set's good. I think player for player, I wouldn't take anybody else in this league, and even some of our bench guys that could start on any other team in the province, and they're doing a great job. My bench has been phenomenal for us.
We'll have to wait and see if this Mohawk men's volleyball team can keep it up as they take on the Boreal Vipers Friday, November 28th at the Debark Center right here at Mohawk. This is Kevin Ferreira reporting for the Mohawk Sports Show. Back to you guys in the studio.
A big congratulations to the Mohawk women's volleyball team, where they became the first OCAA team in a year and a half to take a set from Humber. But even with the Hawks win, the Hawks still came up with a win over the Mountaineers. Talia Hanneman scored 12 kills, 3 aces, and 1 block to lead Humber. Brittany Vanderlyn produced 32 assists. Kristen Bielachowski had 8 kills, and Lindsay Collette added 17 assists for the Mountaineers. Undefeated Humber is now 5-0, and Mohawk is 2-4.
The Hamilton Wentworth Catholic Senior High School Football Championship went down this weekend in bitterly cold conditions. The St. Thomas More Knights edged the Cardinal Newman Cardinals in a 20-17 win. The Knights began the game with a drive of their own 29-yard line. Moore ended with the first half with a 10-2 lead. Newman took in the lead in the third quarter with a pair of touchdowns, and the Cardinals went ahead 17-10 on a 15-yard strike in the end zone. Moore pulled into a 17-17 tie within 3 minutes, 58 seconds remaining, and Aginuan's 1-yard plunge with an exciting 24-yard field goal with no time left on the clock by Kevin Matuga. The outcome Thursday night was earning the Moore Knights the Eaton Trophy, snapping Newman's 3-year hold on the league's hardware. Both teams move on to the Golden Horseshoe Athletic Conference playoffs next Thursday, where the stake for the winners are berths to the Ontario Bowl Festival Championships. Now, lastly, we have a segment showing off the 2 athletes of the week. Showing off the Mohawk College's top talents, let's take a look.
Thanks for watching this week, Hamilton.
Come back next week. We'll keep you up to date with everything that is happening in minor and major sports in and around the Hamilton area.
To find out more about what's happening in your sports community, check out www.hamiltonscores.com.
Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm really excited about the Tiger Cats this season. They are on fire. Maybe it's because it's been a bit of a rough year the past year, what with Tim Hortons Field going up and all these crazy stuff. And I hear that you actually got a job at Tim Hortons Field. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just looking forward to see how they do this weekend, and hopefully next week you could come back with some great news.
Maybe she'll get me some free tickets to Sunday's game. That's all we have for this week, Hamilton. We'll see you next time on Hamilton Sports Talk.